So recently, I had a problem with my Tesla, and actually my son discovered it first. He was driving on the highway, and he noticed that one of the headlights was flickering, which seemed kind of strange. It's unusual that the headlight would flicker on the car. And then later, the headlight itself went out, and then the turn signal went out, which was also kind of strange. It was kind of a weird thing. It started clicking fast, and it went out, and it didn't really make sense that it went out at that point. It was kind of weird. And both the headlamp and the turn signal are out. They're both LEDs, so that's kind of an unusual circumstance to have them both go out at the same time in that case, but in this case it happened. So as you can see, the passenger side headlight is on, but the driver's side is not. So there's something weird going on there. And then as far as the turn signal, the rear turn signal is on, and it's flashing kind of fast. And the side turn signal is on. And when we look inside, we can see that it's flashing faster on the display than the right turn signal is. So there's something going on there. And when we look at the front, there's no turn signal. So there's something very strange. I also got this message inside the cabin when I look at the screen. And then a couple days later, he got in the car and he discovered that the windshield wipers weren't working. He couldn't turn them on in the morning. I was like, that's really strange. There's something going on there. So the windshield wipers were weird. It's kind of strange that they just didn't turn on for a period of time. Then suddenly, one day, they just turned on. Then the next day, they turned off again and wouldn't come back on. Then a few days later, they cycled on again when it rained. It was really, really strange. And then as I continued to drive the car, I noticed some other problems. It was having some other weird issues with the computer system. It wasn't giving me the correct distance when I was backing up. It wasn't connecting the phone properly, all kinds of other things. So I decided it was time to take it into the Tesla dealership and see what happens. So I went ahead and I made an appointment, and they scheduled me for mobile service first, which was like a day or two later, which was really cool. I thought, okay, if they can finish this in mobile service, that's great. So it was into the app to set up a service appointment. And that's kind of the fun thing, is to go through the app and do it. So I went ahead and selected something else. I'd already written up what I wanted to say. So I just pasted it in here. I wanted to get all my thoughts out there. First, I started the windshield wipers because that was a real concern because I couldn't drive when the wipers weren't working and it was raining out. Then I went on to talk about a software problem that I think I have, and talked about the headlights and the turn signal not coming on. And then I also noted that I think it's time for me to do a tire rotation because I've got about 23,000 miles on the car and I hadn't rotated the tires to this point. Kind of cool. It came back and it said, hey, mobile service just 2 days away from where I was. I was like, that's great. That sounds really, really good to me. I'll take it. But then once they read through the notes that I'd put on there, they said, nope, can't do this in mobile service. You're going to have to come in. And had to wait almost a month to be able to get the car in. So I've been driving with one headlight and missing turn signal and whatever. And they have some plans on what they're going to do with it, but we'll see what they do when I actually take it in. And what they think is wrong with it. The follow-up notification came in the app that they couldn't do mobile service just because of the nature of what was going on. So they suggested another time, and I said, okay, that's fine. But I wasn't sure where the service center was because they moved from the service center that I went to somewhere else. So they told me where it was, and I'm like, great, okay, that'll work. They gave me a date and time. Then they went, whoops, they made a mistake. They changed the date. No problem. It's about 6 weeks out, and that's okay. One really cool thing is they do a lot of communication with you. I got a lot of text messages, notifications that came through the app that showed up on my screen, and I also got emails. When I looked at the invoice that they sent, I was like, okay, I see what they want to do. They want to go ahead and figure out what's going on with the car. They want to check out the headlight. They want to replace it. They also want to replace the wiper motor, and they'll rotate the tires, and they'll check out the other stuff that I mentioned as well. So that's interesting. I just think it's kind of strange. It's an unusual thing, but I'm pretty sure it's the computer system that's wrong in the car and something happened to it. And I'm not sure what exactly happened, but it sure seems like it's the computer and nothing else. So we'll see. They'll give me feedback about it. I'm taking it in on a Sunday, and hopefully we'll get it fixed pretty quickly and be back on the road and see how it works out. And then came the waiting game. I had to wait a long time to get my service appointment. I was driving without one headlight, which is kind of awkward. And then I also didn't have windshield wipers about half the time I was driving, which was kind of strange. But eventually the day came and it was time to take my car in. And I also got an email from them telling me what was going on. So it was a really good communication that they did. They over-communicated, if you can believe it. So I figured out where it was, what time I needed to be there, got everything set up. They told me how to do it. And I was ready to go off and take my car over and have it serviced. I should also mention that along the way, I got a message that they asked me to reset the computer by pressing the 2 thumb scrollers and the brake to reset the computer to see if it would fix any of the problems. it didn't. So the day has come to finally take care of the issues in my car, and I have an appointment for it at 9 o'clock this morning. So it's 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I'm in my car, and I have two concerns. One is that this location for the Tesla dealership that I have to go to is fairly far away. It's actually about a 40-minute drive for me. It's only about 20 miles, but it's about 40 minutes in the car. And that's kind of annoying that I have to go there. I mean, I get it, don't get me wrong, but it's just a little bit annoying that I have to go that far to get it. And the second part has to do with, I don't know what's going to need to be done to the car. I don't know, what else has to happen. I don't know how long they're going to have it. I don't know if I can wait for it or I have to come back for it. And if I have to come back for it, how do I get home? In the app, it said transportation will be provided if, and there was a couple of criteria in there, but I don't know what that means for me in this case. So we'll see, I guess. And it's just got me a little, I don't know if the word is concerned, worried, whatever, but it's just, I'm a little uptight about it just because, it's the other side of town and it's early on a Sunday morning. So I need to figure out how that's going to work out, and then I can go from there. But I guess I'm ready to go and get my car serviced, and let's see how everything works out. I think it's really nice the way they made this work. Now it's just a question of how does it all work out. So I've got my car, I've got the key for my car that I'm going to leave in it. It's right here. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to take the key right here, and I'm going to leave it in the cup holder just like they asked. I'll go ahead and put it in there now, because I'm driving with my phone anyway. So we'll keep up on how it goes and see how this works out. Just to give you a little perspective, this is the route I had to take to get over to the dealership. Now, when I pulled in, there was an attendant at this tent, and they actually looked me up, were able to find me, get my information, and just told me where to park, and then took my key and helped me get on my way after that. They told me it would be, maybe 1 or 2 days before the car would be ready. So that's fine. I was okay with that, and they also helped me to figure out what I was going to do to get home, since they were going to have it for 2 days. So it turned out it wasn't such a big deal. I got to the Tesla dealership here. It's very nice, it's very pleasant, and I pulled in, and I guess with the preconceived notions we have because of our own past with dealerships, it always seems like it's an ordeal, a hassle, a something. I pull in, they tell me to park. The nice lady gave me a $100 Uber credit to be able to go wherever I wanted and get home, and that was it. And I can wait in the lounge or I can hang out, whatever. So I'm just hanging out for a minute because the Uber ride should be here in a minute or two, and then I'll be on my way home. So that was it. It was painless, and they'll give me the credit for every day that I'm here, that my car has to stay here. And I just saw my car drive by just in front of me there as it was going back to the shop. So this is pretty cool. It actually is very easy and very convenient. So they make it really easy and have it down to a science. They give you a voucher that you just apply to your account in Uber, and then it allows you to take the credit every day. And then I saw that the car was in service for the period of time that it was there. And 2 days later, it was ready, and I got a message in the Tesla app that they had completed it, and I could pick up my car. So when I looked at it, I could see that now it was parked instead of being in service, and it was ready to be picked up. Now, what they actually did, they replaced the whole assembly for the headlamp, so it was both the light and the turn signal, and they replaced the wiper motor. They don't really note in here what they did about the software or anything else, so I'm not really sure what they did. I guess I'll find out. And they did rotate the tires. So the car is ready, and I'm ready to go pick it up. But it turns out that the ride back to the Tesla dealership turned out to be a bit of a hassle. I went into the Uber app, and I saw that I had the Tesla credit. But when I tried to apply it, it kept telling me to make the charge. And I'm like, that's not right. That can't be right, because that's not the way this works, and it's not the way it worked the last time. So I fought with it for like an hour and a half or so. I tried calling Uber, couldn't get through. I read through the instructions on the voucher, and the voucher said, if you have a problem, go back to the person who issued it. So I went back to Tesla, tried to call them, wound up in a circular voice response system, where you're doing the call and it just keeps telling you to press, press, press. And finally I wound up back at the main menu, and I'm like, all right, that's not going to work. So I used the Tesla app to go in and wound up putting the request into the Tesla app saying, hey, I can't use my voucher. And I got a response back, which was great. And they told me to just go ahead and charge it, and then they'll reimburse me, which is fine. That's okay. But I'm like, wow, what a pain in the neck. So hopefully this will work out, and everything will come together. I wasted, I don't know, probably about 2 hours trying to solve this problem of just being able to get my ride back. Kind of dumb, in that sense, it was just kind of stupid. So anyway, that's where I am now. So I did a little Googling, and this seems to be a common theme with vouchers and Uber. And I did contact Tesla and said, hey, here's what's going on, send them some screenshots. And they said, nope, this happens sometimes. Just show us your screenshot and we'll reimburse you for it. Okay, that's fine. In that case, I went ahead and took the ride. But it turned out that it actually took the voucher as I took the ride, so everything worked out that way. All right, so after a little back and forth and finally getting the the voucher worked out. I'm finally leaving. I got my car. I'm ready to drive it home and get going with my car again. So first things first, I want to make sure that they did everything they said they were going to do, and I want to check it out and just verify that everything works. Now, one weird thing, I noticed that the car needed a software update. That was one of the things that was in there that kept telling me it needed a software update. And what they tell you consistently is, if your car needs a software update and you're taking it in for service, don't apply the software update, let the technician do that. And I came back and noticed my car still needs the software update, and that's kind of weird to me. Did they actually look at the computer system? They say they, did some sort of investigation or something, but I don't know. Did they look at it? I'm really not sure. And then also, it's a pet peeve, really. I noticed that it had whatever it charged when it came in. They kept it in the garage, worked on it, whatever. Then they just parked it. So they didn't add any charge to it, which is just kind of strange. It's a customer-friendly kind of thing that you think they would do, but they didn't do it for some reason. And it just felt kind of weird to me. It felt like they were missing an opportunity there to provide some easy win for customer service. Not that it's a big deal. It's just a little thing like that. Now, the voucher did finally work out, so I'm happy about that. It just was weird that it had to come to that I had to do some back and forth with them to figure out whether the voucher was going to work or not. But here we are. I've got my car right in front of me. I can see it from here. So let's check it out and make sure that everything works exactly like I thought it would, given what they changed. So we'll just check it out right now. Here we go. First off, they gave me my key back, my key card, and I want to make sure that it's the right key card. There's no surprises there. Hold on. That's interesting. Okay, it worked. It opened that time. All right, so that's the right key card. We're good there. I don't think I left this water bottle here, so this is someone else's water bottle, and that's fine. I'll just throw it out. It's moving the seat back to my position. Okay, that was good. So put that there. That's definitely not my water bottle. That's kind of strange, but not a big deal. Okay, so the one thing was left turn signal. So let's get out and have a look. And I see the headlight is on. So that's good. That's good news. All right, so both headlights are working. That's good. I got the turn signal working. All right, so that part is good. All right, so the headlights are working. The turn signal is working. Let's check the wipers. Hey, they're working again too. Okay, as expected. Let's just try this a minute. Make sure they come on. That works. Okay. This worked intermittently. As I told you, this was kind of working some of the time, but didn't work all of the time. So seems to be back to running again. So that's good news. Okay, and it's interesting. Here's something trivial. Again, another trivial thing. My washer fluid is low. That's an easy one. They could have just put a little bit in there, but they didn't. And it's kind of strange to me that they don't bother to do those little things like that. It's kind of weird. I really wish they'd do some of the things that you would expect from a customer service standpoint, that they would take care of some of these things. And the fact that they didn't is just a little strange. I don't know, it's kind of weird in a way, right? Just one of those strange things. So, and I can see on here they didn't update the computer system. They may have hard rebooted it, or reset it in some way, but they didn't change the computer. So I don't know what they did or didn't do. Right, so looks like everything that they said they were gonna do, they did. I'm not sure what the deal is with the software, whether they actually checked it out to make sure the computer system was operating properly or not. I guess I'll continue to drive it and see how it goes. I can't tell if they rotated the tires. I assume they did. It might drive a little differently. I'll find out in a minute. But otherwise, I think it looks like they did. It's always hard to tell. Next time, my little tip is to anyone who wants to know, just put a little chalk mark on one or two of the tires and you'll know if they rotated them. That's a cheap and easy way to find out. You'll see them in a different spot. So that's the only thing I'm not sure about, but it looks like, I assume they did. The key card works. I got the right key card back. The headlight was changed, so both the light and the turn signal work properly now. And they did replace the wiper motor. Weird that they didn't change the add more wiper fluid and didn't put any charge on the car. Those are just little things from a customer standpoint that you go, why wouldn't you just do that? You'd think that they do stuff like that. But otherwise, everything looks fine. Everything's working okay. I'm going to take it for a drive now, drive it home, and see how everything works out. Should be okay, but we'll see. And that's it. So that was my customer service experience. It actually was fairly easy. I just went in. It's weird because you go in the big showroom and then they go, oh, no, you got to go through the other doors there and actually go into the service area, and you go into the service area. And they're very nice in there, but it's just very different. It's very industrial in a sense, right? Where you go in and you just pick up your car. Not a big deal, but just funny how it's a little different from, the big showroom that they show you. So anyway, that was my experience with the Tesla service in person. I tried mobile service before. It was very easy. This was a little more complicated, and I do have to say, I am a little concerned if I had to pay for this myself, if I had to replace that headlight and I had to replace the wiper motor. Those things would cost a fair amount of money. You're talking somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 to do that, plus the tire rotation and whatever. Those things get expensive. To change the headlamp, as I've told you before, you have to take part of the bumper off, you have to remove the frunk. Those things, they add up. So it's interesting when you think about it, how that's going to work. Now, I do know that there's a cable that's going to have to be replaced in the car. At some point, I'm going to have to bring it back for service again. They're going to schedule me for service probably in January or early February to bring it back to fix the cable. It's the cable that runs the backup camera. Apparently, the way they laid it into the car originally, when you open and close the trunk, it wears out the cable. So they have to replace it, and they'll actually, I guess there's another sheathing they put on it or something to make sure it works. But it's a safety issue, so they'll repair it for free. But it's something else. I'm going to have to come back and do this again another time. Kind of a pain in the neck. So this is my third visit for Tesla service. The first was for the adapter, this dongle here, the adapter, when I needed to replace that. The second one was for the 12-volt battery warning, where they replaced the 12-volt battery in mobile service. And then this one, which was a much longer service where I had to be here and actually leave it for a couple of days to get it serviced. So, pain in the neck factor about a 12, just because of the nature of how far away it is and just how everything goes. But that's not so bad. I can live with that as far as that goes. It's not the end of the world. It's just an extra factor. So anyway, I got to get back to work, so I'm going to end this video now.